Alright guys, Will's here. I want to quickly run down the latest server maintenance patch. It's a pretty big patch, lots of new stuff, lots of changes. Um, Wanted to get this out real quick before I start my stream, so if you're watching this and it's Wednesday the 12th, well, the day that the maintenance was completed, I might still be streaming, so check me out. Link to my Twitch will be in the description, but without further ado, let's get into it. So off the bat, the biggest change is Helicopter is basically getting a complete rework. It's no longer going to drop a giant bomb that explodes and does a bunch of magical damage. It now has it's basically just a melee unit now, similar to like a Lancer or Sniper or something along those lines. I mean, you can read what it does here. The next 4, 6, 10 basic attack, increasing attack range by 4 grids. And attack all enemies within the range, and can Dwarf's attack range increase. And then it also has this passive. When choosing a target, the piece will choose the furthest target within the attack range. The attack range is 555. So it says that the active won't cost mana, so I'm not sure why it's called an active, because passive abilities don't cost mana. Active abilities do cost mana. That's the point of the language, so I'm not sure why they're calling it an active if it's not. But anyway, we'll have to test this out to see exactly how it works. If it's stronger or weaker, I would just say it's different. So it might still be useful in those like 6 cave dwarf builds or like a 9 hunter build, stuff like that. I could still see it having lots of value. I kind of preferred it the way that it was, honestly, but we'll see. They changed Priest basically back to the way it used to be. Most recently, Priest has been like putting a little totem on the board that like buffs the attack of the units around it for you, while also causing you to take less damage. Now, instead of taking less damage, if you have Priest but don't have a full board and you take damage, you'll get a green essence. And the way it used to be is it was green essence for 2 and gold essence for 4 or something like that. I could be misremembering. But in either case, green essence, basically what it does is it's a consumable item that restores health to you. Off the top of my head, I don't remember how much health it is. I want to say it's somewhere between like 1 and 5 HP, and it's random. But those numbers could be off by a little bit, so you'll have to test it out. That's for the 2 priests, and then for 4 priests, it's the same, but also 4 priests has this additional new synergy, which we've never seen priests have before, where it takes control of a local piece whose value is not higher than its own. So, like, if you have a priest that's like, let's say you have K Prodigy 2-star, so that's a 4-cost unit, 2-star, it can take your opponent's Doom, that's also a 4-cost 2-star unit, or something lower. I think it's random. So it's not necessarily going to take the most optimal piece every time. I'm not real sure how this is going to work. Like, I don't think you can like load up your board with like 10 priests and like just take control of all the enemy units. I doubt that's how it's going to work. Otherwise that would be broken. We'll have to see. We'll have to test it out. Then balance changes to pieces. Bad Omen loses its it goes from a foreteller to a warlock. Foreteller was like its own thing, so it's not really losing anything. There's no other unit that was synergizing with Bad Omen that was also a foreteller. It was just its unique ability. By making it a warlock, I think this is a buff to Bad Omen, because you can like pair Bad Omen now in like a 6k build with like a Dark Spirit or something and give warlock synergy, or even like a Soul Reaper or Shadow Devil or something like that. And then it's pure damage to enemies. Instead of being just 2 grids, it's now 3 grids. So it's got a wider area of effect for its ability. I can't quite remember what the foreteller, like, if that had any special ability. So I think this is a buff, but I'd have to go back and check what foreteller was. So sorry if I'm incorrectly calling this a buff to Bad Omen. I believe it is, but in any case, giving it Warlock is interesting. We'll have to see how that shakes out. They're changing Foreteller from a rare to a common, so instead of costing 3, it'll cost 1. I believe common is 1, right? Man, this is such a bad update to the patch. Sorry, I don't have all these terms memorized, guys. There's a bajillion of them. If any of you guys are watching this, you're well aware. I believe this makes it a 1 cost, but maybe it's 2 costs because rare is 3, right? Anyway, other than that, I think it's basically all the same. It just costs less. These attack numbers and HP numbers might be different. I would have to compare it to the old one, which I wish they would just tell you what it was before in the notes. Like, no one's gonna remember what it was, and there's no way for me to like go back and check. So anyway, Fallen Witcher. This is the big news right here. Is Fallen Witcher base attack intervals are getting slowed, so it's gonna attack much slower. Well, not much slower, 0.1 second slower. That's not huge, but it does make a difference. But the real big change is that the pieces that it's transforming around it aren't going to get demon synergy anymore. So like if most people are playing it like with 5 dragons or with like 4 shamans, and they're putting like 3 cost druids next to it, and those 3 cost druids turn into Fallen Witchers that have the items and have demon synergy. Now they're just going to be Fallen Witchers with items, but they're not going to have demon synergy anymore, which is going to make it much, much weaker. So between the attack speed nerf and the demon synergy nerf, hopefully Fallen Witcher is a little bit weaker and you don't see everybody spamming it as much, but we'll have to see. Gem Artisan, I haven't read the rest of these notes, so I'm going to be reading them live here and trying to figure out what they are. Gem Artisan, Gem Wave teleports the piece to empty grid next to a random enemy and deals pure damage. So basically they just buff the amount of pure damage that Gem Artisan does. Yeah, a nice little buff to Gem Artisan. Gem Artisan was already pretty strong. You didn't carry it much in the late game unless you could like 3-star in like an insectoid build. But in the early game, double Gem Artisan 1-star is pretty good. That amount of damage is the same, so it'll be just as good. But the 2-star and 3-star are more pure damage now, so now you have more of an incentive to actually upgrade it or potentially go for the 3-star. And remember, when you 3-star Gem Artisan, it generates a second copy of itself that's also 3-star. So this, I mean, that's pretty good with the buff to the pure damage. Maybe going for Gem Artisan Insectoid is a good strat. They're buffing our Argali Knight's HP regeneration and its pure damage dealt. So maybe we'll see a little bit more of like Divinity Knights or just Divinity with Argali carry like we used to. We'll have to test it out and see. The pure damage dealt by Doom is being buffed a little bit. So that's nice. I mean, it's been nerfed over and over, so looks like they felt like it was a little bit on the weaker side, so they're buffing it back a little bit here. Same thing with Dark Spirit. It's been nerfed over and over. It's getting buffed. The amount of pure damage percentage for the 1-star will be the same, but for 2-star it'll go up by 1%. On 3-star it'll be the same. So basically 2-star Dark Spirit gets buff here. Shadow Crawler's base attack is getting reduced. Same as Fallen Witcher from 1.2 to 1.3. Not a huge nerf, but will make some difference in some cases. Like maybe if you're playing 6 assassins or 9 assassins with Shadow Crawler or some kind of feathered build. Scryer. So this is Raven Arcane Blood Surge. Increases the attack speed of a random ally by 50, 80, 120. Attack by 50, 80, 120. Blah, 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 blah. Also, it's just increasing the duration of the attack speed for this one specific ability that Scryer has, Arcane, or Raven Arcane Blood Surge. We'll have to look and see which what causes it to get that ability. Let's see, Arcane Blood Surge. don't see it here. Earth Fury, Bolt Lightning, Sonic. Oh, here it is. Blood Surge is when your opponent has either mechs, Warlock, Horn, Panda Man, or Kira. So yeah, against got like 6 mechs or 6 mech builds, against 6 Warlock builds, against 4 Horn builds, and against pure Pandas or against Kira builds. Your attack for a random ally attack speed increases by 50%, and it lasts for 30 seconds instead of just 10 seconds. I mean, Scryer is not played that much in general. It's really only used in feathered builds or against like 9 warriors to reduce their armor. So against those specific builds, it's not going to have a huge impact on the meta, I don't think. Probably hardly anybody's going to notice that change. And then some item adjustments. They made steel plate armor. It buffs the armor of ally units within 5 grids by 2 armor. It reduces enemy armor by 2. It used to buff armor of ally units within 2 grids rather than 5, so a smaller area, but it buffed it by 10, I believe. And now it only buffs it by 2. So that's kind of a nerf to steel plate. It does reduce the enemy armor by 2 in that same area, so it's kind of more of a rework than a straight up nerf. But like in 9 warriors, like steel plate was so good the way it was before. Now it's gonna like buff more of your units, but you would probably just rather have it buff like 3 or 4 or 5 of your strongest warriors and have it buff all 9 or all 10 of your, weaker or mid-range warriors. So we'll have to see how this shakes out. I think it's a slight nerf to it overall. And then there's just some changes to the chest pool. Going from the standard pool to the extended pool is Fortune Teller, Cave Prodigy, Helicopter, and Bad Omen. See, this doesn't make sense. These were already all in the extended pool, no? And then it says going from the extended pool to standard pool is Soulblade and Shining. And Soulblade was already in the standard pool, and Shining wasn't. Maybe we'll have to check because that wording seems wrong. Where do we check the pool at? Here it is, chest pool. All right, so here's the extended pool. Okay, so yeah, it's just worded the opposite of what they're intending it to mean, I think. So Shining and Soulblade move to the extended pool. They're no longer in the standard pool. And then in the standard pool, Fortune Teller moves into the standard pool where it used to be in the extended pool. Bad Omen moves into the standard pool when it used to be in the extended pool. You gotta love the translations with the this game, don't you? So yeah, basically these are all going to standard pool. So Fortune Teller, Cave Prodigy, Helicopter, Bad Omen are all in the standard pool now. You don't have to add them. And then moving to the extended pool, you have to add them to get them, are Soulblade and Shining. So this increases the amount of 3 drops, the amount of 4 drops in the pool. So you have to keep that in mind. You're less likely to hit like the exact 3 drop you want or the exact 4 drop you want now. So, Fallen Witcher or Doom or whatever with Cave Prodigy. So keep that in mind. All this other stuff I've read through already. It's nothing any of us really care about. It's just like random stuff about items and cosmetics. You can read through that on your own time if you'd like. I'll leave a link to the patch notes in the description so you can go read this in more detail. But I just want to do a quick update before I started my stream. Thank you guys for watching. If you could please leave a like and a comment. I'll try to do more of these and not just like stuff about maintenance updates or patch notes, but just more auto chess videos in the future. Hopefully some composition guides. I'm thinking I'll start with maybe a 9 warrior guide coming up here in the next couple days. But until then, guys, check out my stream. Link will be in the description. Peace out. Bye.